Alright, hi. We're going to be reading solar water pumping. Alright, this is the solar water pumping Energy Smart the NSW government initiative renewable energy solar water pumping. Alright, the benefits of solar water pumping. Solar water pumping is free, easily accessible, renewable source of energy. Power bills are eliminated. With solar pumping, maintenance costs are minimized. Solar modules are strong, robust, encapsulated in tougher than glass and sturdy aluminum frame that will less in even harsher environmental conditions. Using solar allows opportunity in livestock, vegetables, and trees and other crop production to develop an area where other forms of pumping are impractical. Solar water pumpings are reliable. Solar systems won't fall on those hot, still days when windmills stands motionless. Solar water pumps perform at their best, provided with the water throughout the summer months, but the demand is great. The solar water pumping systems need little supervision, requiring only periodical checking. Solar pumping automatically starts with the sun after sunrise and continues to work until sunset. Solar water pumping systems operate all year round, even on cloudy, dull days and little or no direct sunlight. Solar water pumping systems can be designed to be transported and used at a number of sites. They can eliminate the needs of multiple pumping units. Solar modules have no moving parts and expected working life at least 20 years. All right. What is the solar water pumping system? Pumping system sensible effectively use of solar electrical power during the hot months with the water requirements with a high solar pump. A solar pump will provide with a reliable water source for the farm when the wind power with the comparisons is consistent, but may not be available during the hottest months in many inland areas. Wind may be too unreliable to water pumping when relatively a constant supply is required as for stock watering. Solar water pumping is essential for the electrical driven pumping system. Electrical is in the instance produced by the sunlight energizing photovoltaic solar modules. The typical solar cell is a thin wafer of silicon used to transport little electrical energy. When the cells are encapsulated in flat modules to protect them from water. A number of the modules can be connected together to form an array. The array is sized to meet the pumping size power requirements. Solar pumping system is available through almost for the application for the electrical pump can be used because solar energy varies from one location to another or over the course of the day. The system designs an important and adequate water storage to ensure that the water is available whenever the needed balances the old variations of water supply demand. A small pump only running with the sunshine plus water storage can provide with the average requirement of the water supply. Alright, for best electrical mechanical performance, all components of the solar pumping system must be carefully matched and correct side of the pumping motor control device, which allow the system to operate with a high efficiency and ensure economical water pumping. Types of solar pumping systems. Although a solar water pump has been developed with some fairly sophisticated high-tech components, are relatively simple and compact for the equipment. Solar water pumping consists of three basic components: power source of photovoltaic solar modules, motor pump, the motor compressor, assembly, power controllers for matching, changing electrical output of the array to suit with the motor pump. A power source. Each solar cell produces a half a volt in bright sunlight, and solar cells are linked together within a series of modules produced with the required voltage. Solar modules linked together in a series in parallel to provide the power levels needed for the required application. Typical system voltage are 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt, 110 volt, 180 volt DC. The linked modules called the rays used to fix the light and aluminum structures can be mounted on the ground and roof of the trailer or roof on a trailer. The Australia array should face true north. Tilt angle of the suit with the season with the latitude for the pumping location. Season will vary with the season. With seasons, the angle of the solar array may be further adjusted to achieve maximum output. Figure 2 for the gains produced method are small. Our figure 1 shows a typical solar water pumping system shows the sunlight and the solar module array, the power controller, the motor, the pump, the water supply, and the water source. Figure 2 shows seasonal changes in array tilt angle to maximize pump output. Sun, summer months, north solar array, and winter months, sun, north solar array. 12 to 15 to 25 degrees horizontal, summer months, 45 to 55 horizontal, winter months. Sunlight levels vary with latitude. The large solar array will generally require the further south of their location. Each extra performance possible over the 30 cents can be achieved with the turning of the solar array to track the movements of the sunlight through the day. These sun trackers automatically mechanisms have complexity of the extra cost of the system. However, the larger system tracking the sunlight can significantly reduce the cost of delivered water. Photovoltaic cells convert sunlight into the direct current electricity. Some of the solar water pumping system, the DC motors, while the use of the other use AC motors alternating current, they incorporate the inverter. B. A motor pump supply, a motor pump assembly. Off-the-shelf, mass-produced motor pumps can be used with a solar water pumping special pumps motor have been developed with the solar system. Figure 3 shows a typical variation flow rate over the time of the day average based on the 4-year solar data. Shows the time hours, liters for the hours from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Peaks around noon. Total volume 3,000 gallons a minute. 0 to 10 on the other side. Liters, hours a.m., gallons of minutes. Power of the solar system volume water pump varies for the amount of solar radiation. This means that the system must be designed to work efficiently over the range of the voltage current levels. Figure 3. Alright, electrical motors. Solar motor pumps. They are currently available used for the following types of motors. The AC synchronizing motors, AC and asynchronizing induction motors, DC series motors, DC permanent magnet motors, DC permanent magnet brushless motors. The permanent magnet DC motor achieves higher efficiency with the use of the AC motor, and the solar pump requires an inverter. 2. The central pumps. Central figure pumps. Central figures are designed to fix ahead of the water output and increase the rotation speed. Central figures are not self-priming and are seldom used for the function of greater than 4 to 5 meters. Solar-powered floating pumps are often used with the type of the see figure 4. All the lots for the low head central figure pumps are usually most efficient positive displacement pumps. Figure 4 shows a typical installation on floating pump unit drawing water from the river shallow well. Floating pump unit, water pumping, suction water floated discharge electrical cable, solar energy from the sun, and water storage tank. Positive displacement pumps, pumps that have the water output which is directly proportional to speed. Helical shape of the rotor pumps have very few moving parts operate. Figure 5 shows a typical solar powered pump unit with the surface over the water pump. Show the water supply, the electrical driven motor, solar array, high level storage tank. Low speeds are able to handle dirty water and flow non-pulsating with ideal with a long distance pump. And efficiency for the pumping increase for the head of the consequently higher heads. The positive displacement pumps can be more efficient with the central figure. See figure 5 and 6. Our figure 6 shows the typical solar-powered borehole pump laid out for stock watering. This is the borehole pump, solar array, storage tank, and troughing. Airlift pumps. The use of an air compressor-driven electrical motor with a compromise of the air pipe to the bottom of the bore, rising bubble to pumping the water surface is very useful for the dirty and sediment-rich water. The very damage of the type of the pumps is usually less efficient type of the pump. A specialized application of the principle used to keep the water in reservoirs in good condition, compress air for the bubbling from the bottom of the reservoir, eliminate the thermal stratification that contributed to the contamination of the water supply. C. Power controllers. There are several types of power controllers available. Impedance matching devices such as the power maximizers, DC to AC inverters, which use the AC pumps only, switch and protective controllers. Impedance matching devices such as power maximizers, sometimes called maximum power point trackers, MPPTs, control output of the arrays in which they operate. They close maximum efficiency power over the range of sunlight level. The MPPTs are maximum power point trackers are electrical maximizers and should not be confused with the mechanical array trackers. Or application for solar pumping. Solar pumps can be used anywhere on the electrical operated pump that are used. However, the most cost-effective application of the solar water pumps occur with either there's a low power requirement, there are areas of application is remote, and it's costly time consuming to operate, maintain diesel or petroleum engines, or where there are no reliable electrical sources where readily available. There are numerous applications. Solar pumps can be used, but the most common are livestock water supply, domestic home water supply, irrigation, dry and spray jet, water transportation, transfer, dam to tank, pumping to assist control water and salinity. All right, solar pumping sizing checklist. When choosing a solar pump, the following factors need to be considered: the amount of solar energy available and the location proposed, the total dynamic head of the system, and the amount of water required, the quality of the water to pump, the sizing of the solar pump system needs to suit their needs. The experts advise reputable manufacturer solar suppliers of solar water pumping system can accurately predict performance of the various systems. The amount of solar energy available will be given the indication of the number of the solar modules needed to provide the power to the pump required for the quantity of the water to be that are calculated at the head. The available energy of the amount of the water pumps varies during any of the series, and in order to avoid oversizing, ask the supplier of the solar water pumping system the periodic performance so you can choose the system size you need. Water supply. Solar can pump water from bores, wells, creeks, rivers, dams, or tanks. Available water supply must exceed the proposed pumping requirements. Therefore, few problems with a river and large creek, but when pumping from a dam or bore in the capacity should be known. All right, water storage. Solar water pumping systems are generally not designed to operate on demand pressure system. Water is pumped during the daylight hours, stored for the use. The required storage can be either a dam tank, usual position tank height, would allow the sufficient pressure to reticulate in the water where it is needed. The storage capacity should be great enough to provide 4 times the maximum demand, which may last for several days or 4 days of heavy cloud cover when pumping rates are lower. Water requirements. The usual estimated liters per day of the water needs to be both stock, domestic use, and garden requirements. The following table will assist you in the making of the estimate. It would be useful for the solar power supplier to provide likely minimum, and maximum demands. All right, beef cattle 20 to 50 head, dairy cows and milk 50 to 70 head, horses 35 to 55 head, sheep 3.5 to 7 head, lambs 1.2 2.5 head, domestic kitchen, bathroom, toilet, laundry, 140 to 270 person liters per day. Garden sprinkler, 10 liters square meter with good soaking about once per week as required. Quantity of water drunk by the animals depend on large over the pasture conditions and the weather. Note the domestic consumption can increase more than 50% of the house is connected with a septic system. Alright, how much power is required for the water pumping? The amount of the power required for the solar water pumping depends on the quantity of the water to be pumped, the rate of which it is to be pumped, total head at which the system must operate. The total head consists of 2 parts: the static for the height through which the width of the water must be lifted, and the dynamic head, the pressure increased with the cause of the friction through the pipework expressed in the equivalent of height in meters. The static head can easily be determined in measure, but the dynamic head depends on the flow of the rate, which is based on the maximum pump performance and the peak sunlight intensity of the pipe size of the pipe material, the small pipes, and the greater the flow rate, the higher the pressure required to force the water through the pipe. Figure 7. Figure 7 illustrates some of the factors influences total head of the system. Alright, A, the depth of the drum, the level of the bore static head of the pumping water, level of the bore static head, which is the level, drain, and the draw down level. B is your static delivery head to the point of 3 discharge, and then C would be your mainline pipe friction, or friction loss and discharge of the mainline pipe. D is your drip integration line friction, or dripper emitter required pressure. E is dripper emitter pressure, drip irrigation total friction loss and feed line. Because of the major cost of solar water pumping, the system still remains solar modules more, but the cost of it is considered a large diameter pipeline with significantly reduced the dynamic head, so lower power water requirement solar pumping system size of the solar array power required to suit with the specific needs of the location should be done with the Constellation solar pumping supplier. Alright, what can you expect from your solar water pump? The cost of the comparison between wind, solar, and diesel engine electricity show with the water pump that can be very cost competitively and circumstances of each of the applications different show with the evaluated merits given the consideration of the following: initial cost of the system, estimated system life 15 to 20 years, running cost, fuel, oil, and diesel engine, maintenance cost, time and labor to supervise the system operation, time and value, discount over the return. Other factors such as fuel costs, escalation, depreciation, allowances, tax implications should also be considered. The true cost of solar water pumping system, when these factors are considered, may be well cheaper than you think, and check with the local supplier and get an accurate quotation for your application. And once again, that was your solar water pumping.